If you have TikTok and you like basketball, you probably know Chilltown Hoops.
Children of all ages, act like you know.
Yo, what up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world? How y'all doing tonight? Y'all know what it is when you see me. It is Chilltown Hoops in the house. We talk pro basketball around here. That's what we do. We talk pro basketball around here. And tonight, we're going to get into an interesting conversation. And the conversation is going to be about the two guard in the NBA. So, you know, a lot of times, and I've been, peace, God, what up? A lot of times I've been the victim of this also. You know, I've been a victim of a guy being more than what he is, like a prisoner of the moment, a guy being more than what he is. And because I watch that sort of stuff, I'll get caught up. I used to get caught up in the hype of a guy, when in reality, I watch a lot of times and I dissect a guy's game. So when you see a guy a lot, you have a tendency not to watch his game and focus more on how dynamic he is and look more for the highlights. And when you see the highlights, that's what you focus on. And that's who Anthony Edwards is. The charisma, not just the charisma, the high flyer that he is, the go-getter that he is, the athlete that he is. You know, Anthony Edwards is a very captivating player. If you watch him, you're captivated by him because he looks like he's about to do something. But if you watch his game, right, if you end up watching his game, you'll see that, you know, he's still young and there's still some things that have to get cleaned up before we can have a real conversation about him being the best two guard in the game. Hey, Kenny, about him being, before we can have a real conversation about him being the best two guard in the game. So when I watch him, I watch a dude that flies through the air. I watch a dude dunking on big men, right? I watch a dude who can score in bunches. I watch a dude who can, excuse me, I watch a dude who can score in bunches. I watch a dude who has dynamic plays where he'll catch you on the weak side and smack it into the third row. Like he'll get an open floor steal, things like that. So when I'm watching him, when people are watching him, this is why the NBA has Minnesota on TV as much as they do, even though they should have them on even more this year than they do. They don't have them on as much as they should have them on this season, but they have them on as much as they do. And with that, people get lost in how Anthony Edwards has a difficult time hitting a guy on a pick and dive, reading defenses, operating out of the double team, how that affects the offense in Minnesota when he's operating out of the double team and doesn't know when to get off the ball, when he operates in the mid-range where it's one dribble pull-up instead of going right to the rim, and how much more dynamic, how much better he would be, not just as a two guard, but as an overall player when he's at the long ball line. If it's a two dribble pull up right to the elbow, two dribble pull up right to the dotted line, right in the mid post, where he doesn't have to get all the way to the rim, how much more that would open up Minnesota's offense even more. As a defender, knowing when to take chances. As a defender, an on-ball defender, he doesn't do that on a consistent basis. And the reason why he doesn't do that on a consistent basis is because he's young and he's still figuring the game out. You know, Devin Booker, we're going into year 9 with him. Donovan Mitchell, we're going into, I think, year 8. We're going into year 8 with Donovan Mitchell. Now, just because you've been around longer does not necessarily mean you're better. I want to get to the bottom of that right now. That doesn't mean that. Just because you've been around longer does not mean that you're better. That does not mean that. However, in this particular situation, there's still holes in Anthony Edwards' game that don't put him at the top of the two-guard list yet. There's still holes in his game. And when I say at the top of the two-guard list, I think he's a top 3 two-guard in the game. I just don't think he's the best two-guard in the game yet. And I think he's close. I'm on record, right? I'm on record saying, and I said this earlier, we're in August. I said this in February, that I think 2 years tops, he's the best two-guard in the game. In 2 years tops, he's the best two-guard in the game. Because I think those things that he needs cleaning up, right? Those things that he needs cleaning up will get cleaned up. Those things that he doesn't see, film, him being put in that situation more, will allow him to be better at that. So Minnesota runs action where, especially when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, Minnesota runs action where Rudy sets a screen and then he comes back and sets a screen on Anthony Edwards' man. Sometimes he'll slip the screen and dive to the basket. As a two guard, you have to be able to see the game a couple of plays ahead. Like Rudy knows that this guy is on the top side. So instead of Rudy actually setting the screen, he's going to dive to the basket. I can throw the ball on the floor while he's rolling and he's wide open at the rim. Wide open at the rim. I can see that. I can see a couple of plays ahead. He can't, though, and the reason why he can't, because he's young. That's why. Because he's young. Donovan Mitchell can, though. I watched Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland and in transition suck the defense in when he gets to the rim and scores the basketball, scores the ball at the rim, scores the ball in the mid-range, especially in transition, to suck the defense in. So now I got Max Strus wide open at the long ball line in transition. Wide open. I got D Wade wide open. I got Evan Mobley at the rim for a lob. That's better playmaking. And the reason why that's better playmaking, because I've been around for a while, right? I've been around for a while. And because I've been around for a while, I understand the game a little bit better. That's not to say that, again, that's not to say that because you haven't been around for as long that you can't be that, you can't be advanced. Because there's plenty of guys who weren't around for years but picked it up quickly. We call them quick studies, right? We call them quick studies. Donovan Mitchell was a quick study. Curry is a quick study. Magic was a quick study. Stockton, like guys like that. These guys are quick studies where they pick it up pretty quickly. It doesn't take long for them to understand the game. Anthony Edwards hasn't really played at that high of a level for a long period of time, right? He played in high school. He played 1 year at Georgia. They weren't very good. He gets on this Minnesota team. They're not very good when he gets on the crew, right? But then he gets on the crew, and then after a certain amount of time, he's starting to get better. And when I watch players who are young, one of the things that I recognize the most about them is how they use their athleticism. And Anthony Edwards is one of those guys, very much how LeBron James was. I'm just bigger, faster, and stronger than most of you guys. And I can do whatever I want out here. That doesn't mean that I really know how to play yet. That doesn't mean that I figured this out yet. It just means that I'm bigger, faster, and stronger than a lot of you guys. So because I'm bigger, faster, and stronger than a lot of you guys, I can mask the deficiencies that I have. They don't really get highlighted. But when you're playing with players who are lesser than the players you actually playing with now, then they do get highlighted. So when he's playing with Minnesota, no, he doesn't have LeBron with him. He doesn't have KD with him. He doesn't have Curry with him. He doesn't have Curry with him. He doesn't have KD with him. He doesn't have Book with him. He doesn't have Joel Embiid with him. No. He doesn't have Anthony Davis with him. He doesn't have these guys with him. So because he doesn't have these guys with him, the flaws that he has, they're going to get magnified. That's why it's very important. That's why it's very important that when he gets on this crew, that the stuff that he needs to work on, that he needs to improve at, right? The stuff that he needs to improve at, It has to show. Very much so. Yeah, very, very much so. So I don't have Anthony Edwards as the best 2 guard in the game. There are a number of different guys, and I'm going to learn how to do this, by the way, to share the screen with you guys to put up who the best. When I have stuff like this, I'll be able to share the screen with you guys, and the better lead guards in the game. I mean, the better 2 guards in the game. It's Devin Booker. It's Anthony Edwards at 1, Devin Booker at 2, Donovan Mitchell at 3. I have Donovan Mitchell at 1. I got Devin Booker at 2. I got Anthony Edwards at 3. Then there's Jaylen Brown at 4. Now, here's where I have the problem with that. And the reason why I got a problem with that is because Jaylen Brown doesn't play the 2, even though he is a 2. Even though Jaylen Brown is a 2, he doesn't play the 2. He should actually be at the 2-guard spot. I said this before the season started that I wanted to bring Derek White off the bench. I did. I wanted to bring Derek White off the bench. I think that I think that Derek White coming off the bench, he would have been the best rotation guard in the game. Him, it would have been a conversation between him and Malik Monk. But the Celtics start Drew at the 1. They start Drew at the 1. They start Derek White at the 2. They start Jaylen Brown at the 3. They put Jason Tatum at the 4, and they put KB at the 5. I wanted to put Drew at the 1. I wanted to put Jaylen at the 2. I wanted to put Jason Tatum at the 3. I wanted to put Al Horford at the 4, and I wanted to put KB at the 5, and I wanted Derek White to come off the bench. He would have been playing starter minutes. That's not something that I would have been concerned with if that happened. But they got Jaylen Brown listed at the 2-guard spot, even though he doesn't play the 2. He plays the 3. And it's is it interchangeable? I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think the 2 and the 3, considering that offense that they run in Boston, it could be interchangeable, but the 3-man, he handles the ball a little bit more. That's number 1. He defends bigger guys. Excuse me. He defends bigger guys, right? Not only does he defend bigger guys, but he also gets defended by bigger guys at the 3 spot, and he could take advantage of that, right? So, with that being said, right? With that being said, I have a difficult time with guys being listed at spots that they're not particularly playing the whole season, right? They're not particularly playing the whole season. When, like this season, right? Like this season, Jaylen Brown, I think he would be much better at the 2 spot than he would be at the 3. I think he'd be much better. So, with that being said, right? With that being said, Jaylen Brown is listed at the 2, and they got him at 4. They got J-Dub at 5, and they got Desmond Brown at 6. Desmond Bain, I'm sorry, at 6. I'm not sure that I'm not sure J-Dub is better than Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain's a damn good defender. Not only is he a damn good defender, he's a knockdown long ball shooter. Knockdown, right? He's a knockdown long ball shooter. In the process of him being a knockdown long ball shooter, he can defend. One of his problems is that his standing reach isn't as good. I think that's where the problem is, right? So his wingspan kind of suffers, right? And because his wingspan suffers, he kind of gets not necessarily pushed to the side, but he could be a better defender if he had a better wingspan. I think he's a better scorer than Jay. I think he's a better long ball shooter than J-Dub. I think he's a better defender than J-Dub. I think J-Dub is bigger than him, right? I think Jalen Williams is bigger than him, and I think he can score it with the best of them. But I think Desmond Bane on the defensive side of the ball, I think he does a little bit more as a playmaker. And I think that I feel like is what pushes him ahead of Jalen Williams. They got Zach LaVine at 7. You guys might kill me for this. I'm not a big Zach LaVine fan. I'm not. I am not a big Zach LaVine fan. I don't think that he affects winning. I really don't think that he affects winning as nearly as much as you guys talk about his game. I just don't think he does. He doesn't guard at a high rate. He's a guy who scores in bunches. I don't think he's that smart of a basketball player. Is he made of glass? I'm not going to go that far, but I just don't. I'm not sure. I'm not high on Zach LaVine. I'm not sure how much he affects winning. His game, his one-on-one game is one of the best that I've seen. I won't argue that. His stop and pop and the athlete that he is, those two things are really good. I don't think that he understands situations as much. He's not a very good passer. He does not come off the basketball nearly as much at the 2 guard. He's very much a black hole. He could crack the long ball, but he cracks it in stretches. I'm not very high on Zach LaVine. And I mean, they got him listed at 7. I don't love that. Austin Reeves at 8, and then Jalen Green at 9. And this might be a hot take for a lot of people. I think Jalen Green might be better than Austin Reeves. I think he's a better athlete. I think Austin Reeves is really good in the pick and pop and the pick and dive, which, really helps playing with Anthony Davis. And I think he's a really good passer in that particular situation. But I think Jalen Green's a better transition player. I think he's a better one-on-one player. I think he's a better defender. Austin Reeves, I watched him last year in the FIBA World Championships, and I watched him during the season. He gets hunted way more than Jalen Green does. Way more. And I think Jalen Green plays off the ball better than him. I think he's better at the rim. I also think that not only do I think he's better at the rim as a finisher, as a lob threat, I think he's better overall. The biggest problem that I have with this list, it's Tyler Hero at 10, CJ McCullough at 11, Bradley Beal at 12, Devin Vassell at 13, Malik Monk at 14, Cam Thomas at 15. Malik Monk is better than Tyler Hero. I am not on the fence about that. Malik Monk is a better player, and not just a better player. He's a better 2 guard than Tyler Hero. He's a better athlete. I think Tyler Hero, if he shoots the long ball better, it's not by much. It's not by much. And if you want me to give you the long ball with Tyler Hero, I'll give you that. I ain't giving you nothing else. Monk's a better defender. I think he a better one-on-one player. He better in transition, better in that offense in Sacramento, much better in that offense in Sacramento. And on top of that, if he played in, I'm not really one of these, plug and play type of guys, because there aren't many plug and play guys that I can honestly say, right? There aren't many plug and play guys that I can say in the NBA that immediately can be that. Malik Monk is one of those plug and play guys. KD is the plug and play guy, right? There aren't many plug and play guys, but KD is the plug and play guy. But Malik Monk as a rotation guard, which is where I think Tyler Hero should be playing. Damn, I just got the fan card. I ain't even accepted yet, Jay. And you taking it away from me already? I just got it. And I just was offered it. You just offered me the Heat fan card, the Heat fan membership. My man Jay literally just offered me the Heat fan membership. I'm saying like less than a week. He wrote down, he ran down the sales pitch on why I should already be a Heat fan, right? He already ran down the list on why I should be a Heat fan. And now he's taking the membership away, and I ain't even accepted yet. Already, I'm already gone that quick. So, yeah, Tyler Hero, right? Tyler Hero, for all intents and purposes, I think he is a better rotation guard, right? I think he's a better rotation guard than he is a starter, because as a starter, he's much easier to pick on. He's much easier to hunt as a starter than he is as a rotation guard. Malik Monk, the athlete that he is, not necessarily hide, but he's less difficult to protect as a rotation guard. Less difficult to protect as a rotation guard than he is as a starter. So I think that I think Malik Monk is better than Tyler Hero. I'm not sure if he's better than Bradley Beal. He might have played better than Bradley Beal, but I'm not sure if he's better than Bradley Beal. I mean, Bradley Beal was 17-7 last year. That's as a third guy. The thing that I worry about with Bradley Beal is are we coming up on that time? Are we coming up on that time with Bradley Beal where am I seeing the beginning of the end of him? I don't think so. I'd like to think that he's still got some good years ahead of him. He's only 30 years old. But that back is a problem, right? He's got a back issue. And with him having a back issue, I know for a fact when you got a back issue, it could get real tricky. Real tricky. And that was one of his major problems last year. He was injured. So if we put him this season in Phoenix in a different offense, if we put him in Phoenix in a different offense where we get more action, we may see a better version of Bradley Beal. But this down screen, pop, one-on-one, down screen, curl, shoot, that's not going to work for him. That's not. I don't like that at all with him. Nope. I'm not feeling that one bit. And I'm pretty confident that he's going to age fast if you keep that up with him. I'm very confident that he's going to age a lot faster if you keep that up with him. That's why Klay Thompson was as good as Klay Thompson was. The injury screwed him up. Right? The injury screwed Klay Thompson up. If Klay Thompson played in a more isolated one-on-one offense, he wouldn't be nearly as productive. But the fact that he played in that ball movement, people movement, a lot of action, a lot of cross screens, a lot of down screens, because he played in that kind of action, that enhanced his game. I feel like that could enhance Bradley Beal's game, especially at this point in his career. Not necessarily being a spot-up shooter, but he could still be a one-on-one player with the ball moving, right? He could still be a one-on-one player with the ball moving. That's why Golden State's offense is so potent, because there is no ball stopper. I mean, as good as Steph Curry is, it's 2-3 dribbles, do something or get off the ball. 2-3 dribbles, get off the ball. It's not this bouncing the ball, handling the ball, slowing down the offense. No, the ball's moving, the ball's hopping, 2-3 dribbles, do something, get off the ball, and give the ball up. Now, I think that we're in a space with, I feel like we're in a space with the two guards that we have that we can define, who they are. And I feel like we're in a space where we can have a comfortable conversation about where these guys are. Like I said, I think Donovan Mitchell is at the top of the list at number 1. I think Devin Booker is number 2. I think Ant's number 3. I'd like to see Jaylen Brown actually play the 2, because he hasn't played the 2. That's Derek White playing the 2. And some people will tell you, well, Derek White plays the small. No, he doesn't. No, he does not. Jaylen Brown plays the small. Jalen Williams this season, this season, I'm a firm believer that this season, Jalen Williams has to take that jump. And the jump that I feel like he needs to take, it's in the postseason. It has to happen. in order for them to get to where they're trying to go. Because Chet was the difference last year. Chet unlocked a part of them that they didn't have. That's why, and I'm on record saying this, when I heard LeBron James say it, I'm like, is this dude listening to us? Is James listening to us? Because I said that before the season started, what Chet was going to do. That's why I felt like they were a playoff team. That I think they were the best team in the Western Conference. I didn't think that they were that good. No, I did not. I did not think that they would. I didn't think that they were going to be that good. But I felt like Chet was going to put them in a space where he now gives them a dynamic that they didn't have. So I got a stretch big. I got a stretch big who can pass. And I got an offense where the ball moves. So SGA, for all intents and purposes, people say Josh Giddey was the one. No, SGA was handling the basketball the most. That's why Josh Giddey became unplayable, right? That's why Josh Giddey became unplayable, because both of those dudes need the ball. And who would you rather have the ball? Would you rather Josh Giddey have the ball, or would you rather SGA have the ball? I'd much rather have SGA with the basketball more than Josh. That's not to say that Josh isn't good with the ball. He's going to be damn good. Right? He's going to be damn good in Chicago with the basketball. But with that being said, I feel like Jalen Williams. I feel like this season he's got to play it. He doesn't have to play at an all-star level. He doesn't have to play at an all-star level. I feel like he's got to make that jump to be an all-star. If they're going to be what everybody thinks they're going to be, which is the representative in the Western Conference, that 17, 18 a game from him, that's got to jump. He's got to be more of a scorer. He's got to be better in the mid-range. He's got to be better at the long ball line. He has to be an even better defender, and he's got to stay healthy. I'm not saying he made a glass. I don't think he is. But I've seen him roll his ankle in those Adidas that he plays in. And to be honest with you, I don't love them. I don't love those shoes. I think he can stand to switch those up. And that whole playing in different color shoes, that's corny to me. But whatever, that's who he is. That's a different subject for a different time. But what I'm thinking is, when it comes to Jalen Williams, he can get downhill. And when I see him, when I see Jalen Williams getting downhill, especially in transition, I see him getting downhill. He's one of the better finishers at the guard spot, at the two guard spot. He is one of the better finishers in the game. He will throw it over the top of you, and he will throw it over the top of your big man. At 6'6", yes, he will definitely throw it on you. 100% he'll do that. He's got a stop and pop game, which I feel like can get better, and I feel like it will get better, right? I feel like it will get better, but it's not there yet. And I think it does need to improve. I think one of his biggest strengths playing off the ball is that offense. They hunt mismatches, and they get him consistently in mismatches where they're not running clear outs for him more than they're running quick action for him. Like, they'll get him in a mismatch and he'll go quick, particularly on the right wing, where he'll go quick and they'll get something quick for him, whether it's a 2-dribble pull up, whether it's right to the basket, they'll get something quick from him. I like that about him. I do like that about his game. Now, him as a defender, I think that needs to improve. I 100% believe that needs to improve, and I think that it will, right? I do think that will improve. Now, where is he going to end up? Where he ends up depends on where Oklahoma City ends up in the Western Conference. He's got what I saw from him last season. I can't see the same thing coming into this season. We're in year 3. I need to see improvement. If they're going to be what you guys say that they're going to be, if they're going to be the best team in the Western Conference, and a real contender to compete for the NBA championship, he's got to get better. He has to. That's not my opinion. That's fact. And I think he knows that. I do think that he knows that. Now, how many 20 a game scorers do we have on championship teams? How many? 3? I mean, the Celtics had both Jaylen Brown, Jason, and KP. They were all they were 20 a game scorers. Do the Oklahoma City Thunder have 3 guys that can score 20 a game? I don't think Chet has to be 20 a game. I do think that he needs to be better in terms of a stretch 5 offensively. I see where he is. I see where he's going to be defensively, and I love that about him. I do love that about him. I think he's going to be a better rebounder, better rim protector, which I really dig. I really dig that about him. With him being that, this season coming in, if I could get Chet at 19 and 10 and 2 blocks, and I could get Jalen Williams at 22, if I could get 22 a game at a 22 and 6, if J-Dub is 22 and 6 on good efficiency, I think those are all-star numbers in the West, because I think Shea is 28. I think Shea is 28, 29 a game. I think he's anywhere, but I think Shea is anywhere between 27 and 30 a night on a Tuesday. I think that's who he is. I think that's the space that we're in with him right now. I think he's anywhere between 27 and 30 a night. I love that about him. That 18, that 17, 18 that Jalen Williams averaged, that has to jump to, I think that has to jump to 22. That has to jump to 22. And if it does, I think Oklahoma City takes that step, that next step, where they're competing for the Western Conference Championship. I think that they take that step. And I think that's good for them. I do think that's good for them. But I want to hear from you guys. I do. I want to hear from you guys, because I do want to discuss the divide between the old head and the current NBA fan and how we could close that gap. I do want to discuss that, because I feel like the divide between the old head and the current NBA fanatic, I feel like the divide is because the respect isn't there. Like old heads have a tendency to think that these guys that are playing today, 1, couldn't play back then, and 2, are soft and they're disrespected. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, and I will not do that with them. So, what up?
Yo, Chill, you got me? You got me, Chill?
You hot? What up?
Man, I think the first thing that I wanted to say, Chill, is I do appreciate you, because you're one of the few people that isn't disrespectful towards like the new generation of players, in a sense, and
Yep.
isn't in a sense like bitter. And so that's one of the things that I really do appreciate, because I think it's in a sense when the whole we done with the 90s thing happened and stuff like that, it was like really disrespectful in a sense to a lot of older players. And I know for you, for someone who's an older person and stuff like that, like you watch the 90s, you watch Michael Jordan and Hakeem and Stockton, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, like you watch those version of guys.
Yep.
And I know for you, you kind of felt a little bit differently seeing the 90s get disrespected in that manner, basically. But I feel
just didn't think it was necessary. That's all.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think with this new generation of players, I do appreciate the fact that you are respectful towards them, and it's in a sense of like, you're never in a sense like negative or hateful or bitter. I feel like some old heads are a little bit hateful and are a little bit bitter.
No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to, because these dudes, like guys like Anthony Edwards, Chet Holmgren, Evan. Anybody knows me knows I'm an Evan Mobley stan. I love him.
Right. Yeah.
So I can't be spiteful and hateful for these guys, because these are the guys that's going to move the game forward.
Yes.
It's not 1995 anymore. It's not.
Yes.
It's not 2005 anymore. It's not
Yes.
2015 anymore.
Yes,
It's not.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I have to respect the fact that the game is moving forward, and I
Hmm.
can't live in 19. It's not 1987 anymore. Magic is
Right.
gone.
Hmm.
Magic is gone. As
Yes.
much as I miss Shaq, he's not coming back.
Yeah,
No, he's
exactly.
not.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. So
Exactly.
I have to dive into who these young guys are and
Hmm.
respect who they are. Now, I will say this: there are players who I do think when I watch them, I'm like, I think he would have bust your ass. And I'm not going, no, I'm not going, I won't come off that. But I could say that, right?
Hmm.
I could say that, but at the same time say, yo, Anthony Edwards is a mother, you know what?
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
could
Yeah.
I won't sit around and go, yo, Anthony Edwards suck and he won't do nothing. And then hang on. We're
Hmm.
not doing that.
Yes.
No, we're
Yes.
not doing that. Yeah, I think Clyde
Yes.
Drexler would have bust your ass. But I also
Hmm.
think that Anthony Edwards would have did work in the 90s. I do.
Yeah.
I think his game
Definitely.
translates. Absolutely, I do.
Definitely. Also, the last thing for me, Chill, I wanted to ask you, how good do you think Jalen Williams can be, especially in the next few years? Like, where do you really see him be as a player? Like, what do you think? How great can he really be? Basically, going
I
forward.
was I had compared him to a more athletic version of Jamal Mashburn. That's who I thought he was.
Right.
Just a little bit smaller. Mash go at
Mhm.
6'8". Jalen Williams, I think he's 6'6", 6'7".
Six,
That's
seven, yeah, right.
that's who he reminded me of. He was a smaller, more athletic version of Jamal Mashburn. Um,
Hmm.
I think with him being in Oklahoma City, I think he could be an all-star, a
Yeah.
consistent all-star.
Hmm.
I don't really know how much longer. I don't know how long Oklahoma City's going to be able to hold on him. It's a small
Hmm.
market.
Yep.
They got a lot of these guys on their rook deals. And
Yep.
when you got guys on rook deals, that gives you a timeline. Okay, so
Yeah.
we have to be able, we got to do something within this timeline because we can lose these guys because it gets expensive when you're trying to
Hmm.
win. It
Yeah.
gets really expensive when you're trying to win. So I think he
Yeah.
could be, I think he could be a consistent all-star.
Hmm.
Could he be an all-pro? If that defense gets better, that would not surprise me.
All right.
That would not surprise, especially considering who Oklahoma City, who I think they're going to be, and I think Oklahoma City can be one of the better teams in the Western Conference. And if they
Mm,
are that, he will be in the conversation to being an All-Pro. I think he can be
definitely.
that.
Definitely.
Yep.
Appreciate you, Chill.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. That's all. That divide between old heads, right? That divide between old heads and younger people, the gap has to close off the strength that the respect factor has to be there. Because, like I said, I could recognize when I see Anthony Edwards, man, Drexler would have bust your ass. I'm confident in that. I think Clyde Drexler would have bust your ass. But I can also recognize, as good as he is today, he's going to be even better moving forward. So we can definitely revisit that conversation in years to come. Definitely revisit that because I dig Anthony Edwards' game, and I think that there's a lot of room for improvement in his game. I just don't think he's where a lot of people put him yet. I don't think he's there yet. I think he's close. I just don't think he's there yet. What up?
Chill was good, was good.
What's up, brother?
Look, man, you're just a little bit more level headed than your average old head, man. This is something that's gonna go on for till the end of time, where you're in your generation and you think your generation is better than the one that follows yours. So that's just naturally gonna happen. That's gonna be a thing that's recurring. But I wish there was more people like you who could, see both sides of the spectrum. But like I said, not that not something you come across every day. So I respect guys like you who can see, okay, it's guys from this era that could definitely have gotten busy in the 90s or the 80s, whatever era that
Yeah.
people are saying that these guys can't, because what people are not taking into consideration is that these players are talented. So to act like they can adjust to a situation or things like that is just, it doesn't make any sense.
If we being honest, I'm trying to imagine Giannis running around in the '80s. He would have fried them dudes. Are you kidding
That's what
me?
I'm like.
I'm trying
Come
to
on.
imagine Charles Oakley trying to deal with Giannis. As good as Charles Oakley was as a defender, I'm trying to imagine Anthony Mason trying to deal with Giannis. He would have destroyed
And the
him.
full court, come on, man.
He would have destroyed him. It would when I think about Giannis, that's Doc, and I've actually had this conversation with one of my best friends. Giannis, that's Doc, except bigger. That's who he remind me of. Except the
Mm.
bigger version. That's who when I watch Giannis, that's Doc at 6'10. That's who he is. And he couldn't shoot it like Doc, but That's what he remind me of. And the idea that the game is, and again, it's not capping for young dudes. No, it's not doing that. It's just that the game is moving forward. I can't stay stuck in what was. I can't do that. As much as I love Shaq, oh my God, you can't tell me how much I love that dude and his game. But he gone.
Yeah.
And he not coming back.
I think the physicality of the 90s is it's a bit overstated. Not to say that wasn't more physical than this era, which it actually was, but it's overstated to the point where people were saying that, oh, a guy like LeBron he couldn't play in the 90s. How so? How so? Kevin Durant, he couldn't play in the so because the fouls are a little harder. That's why.
I'm trying to imagine KD. I'm trying to imagine Alex English trying to slow KD down. KD would have fried him.
It doesn't make sense to me. But I want to ask you this because I know you're a Jason Tatum fan. This is the last thing. I know you're a Jason Tatum fan, right? When I was watching the finals, right, my perspective wasn't, he's doing other things. He's getting people involved. He's getting rebounds. I wasn't looking at that. Why? Because Jason Tatum primarily is a scorer. So when I seen him in the 2022 finals, he got shut down. Andrew Wiggins, they closed in on him, and he wasn't his dominant self that we used to see him. So going into this finals, I was looking forward to him in this finals with the spacing that he has, taking advantage of that. And throughout the whole playoffs, we went after round 1, after round 2, 3, then the finals, and it never really came of him being the dominant, efficient scorer that he usually is. And to me, the performance in the finals, I felt like if he had a worser team, if his team wasn't as good as they were to bail him out, this finals performance, we would have been looking at it as a choke. What do you think about that?
Well, you could get stuck on what you were. And I think that more than anything with him, I think he was more worried about repeating that. I think he was stuck on, man, I can't be that bad as I was in 22. So I got to make sure that I'm not that bad. So I'm going to do other stuff instead of turning his brain off and just playing.
Right.
That you already know what the offense is. Not only do you know what the offense is, you know where your spots are. You know where you're the most effective. You know, just as an offensive player and as a scorer, you know where you're most effective. You know where you can score the best. You know how to score. You don't average 27, 28 a game in a season. I think he averaged 27 last year, which was a down year in terms of buckets. You don't average that and you don't know where you want to score. You don't average that and you don't know how to get a shot off. You know how to take care of all of that. But the problem is I think that he was in his head worried about a repeat performance from 22. I think now that monkey is off of his back and them actually winning it, I don't think that he has to press that, okay, I got to be much better now. No, we already did it. And the fact that we already did it, you can't take that away from me. I can breathe now, and now I can rock. And there's a sense of confidence that comes with that. With him in particular, that now I can show you guys, okay, who I really am. And I can show you how much better I can show you how much better I am than a lot of you guys think.
Final thing about Jason Tatum. I hope he's not he gets out of his head because it seemed like the man just forgot how to shoot. You know what I'm saying? I think that 2022 season was his best season for me. That was his best season. Heading into the playoffs, he was inconsistent, but that 22 season was his best season. But that's all I got.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. Absolutely. I know for a fact that players getting in their heads is a real thing. There's a thin line, and I don't think you guys know this, but there's a thin line between success and failure. There's a thin line between dominance and failing. And Jason Tatum is one of those guys who, right? Jason Tatum is one of those guys who I feel like he teeters on that line where 1 minute I see him and he looks like he could be in the conversation for the best player in the league. And then there's other times when I see him and he looks like I'm going to have to turn it on. Maybe I can. I really don't know exactly where to go with him. So peace, chill. Peace, God.
Peace, chill. What's good, brother?
What's up, brother?
Nothing much, man. So why you always said that we need these Zesty Jeffries, right? They're necessary for us to keep.
We need them.
But they're the problem. They're the old heads that are the problem.
Here's why we need them, Jay. The reason why we need them is the same reason why the cops need criminals, why nurses need sick people. We can't function without these dudes. We need them to advance because what they do is they make us better. If they didn't make us better, we wouldn't have had. They're the yin to our yang. If without them, we don't really have that much of a purpose, right? Because we can't agree on everything. My grandmother told me that when I was a kid. If we agree on everything, one of us shouldn't be here. So we need the Zesties. We need those dudes to be who they are.
Because like let's take it back to like the legendary players of the 80s, right? You listen to Isaiah Thomas speak, you listen to Cedric Maxwell speak, and those guys that played in the 80s, and Adrian Dantley, they never hate on today's NBA. The 70 guys don't hate on today's NBA players. It's only the 90s guys. It's only the players who played in the 90s who want to talk about how horrible today's NBA is. They can't appreciate today's game. They're the problem. Like we can argue. You and I can have an argument all the time because we watch the game. We have different perspectives, but we're not looking for a reason to have an argument. Like they intentionally try to find an argument in the for no reason. Like just
you got to remember too. You got to remember too, Jay, that okay, my spot is in jeopardy here. So of course, when my spot is in jeopardy, I'm going to say things that not necessarily are true. Like Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas is the dude who wants to just be recognized. That's it. That's why he talk about Jordan the way he does. He wants you to recognize him.
You really think that about Isaiah?
100%. There's no reason for him to talk about Jordan the way he does. None.
He has to because Jordan's always throwing dirt on his name.
I don't never hear Jordan say nothing about him. Nothing.
Jordan's always talking bad about the man. Every time Jordan wants to talk about his greatness, you know who he mentions? Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons. Because just like on our show yesterday, some dude said that Michael Jordan's greatness was predicated on him losing to Detroit.
Which is true.
But Detroit was a great team. Jordan didn't give them credit then, and Jordan still don't give them credit now.
Well, he did say that. That's not true, Jay, because Jordan did say that we wouldn't be who we were if it wasn't for the Detroit Pistons. He did say that, and he said that I think it was in 2016. Jay said that.
Jordan's not French. He never says we. It's always I. What you talking about, Jordan? There's no we. What you talking about?
He did say that. No, he did say we wouldn't be who we were if it wasn't for the Detroit Pistons. He did say that though, Jay. I got to give him credit for that. He did say that.
We got to stop hating on Isaiah. The man been a part of the NBA since he retired. He's been a coach. He's been a GM. He's been a commentator. He's been everything. So he has a right to. He has a right to speak. That's what I'm saying. He has, and he doesn't hate. He doesn't. Only thing he tells you is that all that stuff y'all say about us in the '80s is fake. All that stuff about Michael Jordan is fake. He's not lying. That's fake. You was crying. You crying to the league because we were playing real basketball. I beat you. I beat Kareem and Magic. I beat Bird and McHale.
Ain't nobody can say that. None of y'all dudes can say that. None of y'all
say that.
So they mad
at him for that. Like, look. Now we got to hate on Isaiah Thomas because of the Zesty Jeffries. We got to get rid of him, bro. We got to get rid of him.
The Zesties are necessary. Hey, hold on. Wait a minute. Before we go any further, Jay, how do I immediately get my membership revoked when I didn't even accept it? Automatically, it's like I'm at the gym signing up, and you put the membership card on the table, and I might have said something, and you immediately took it away. Damn, can I even get it?
No, because I mean, you kicking Tyler Hero while he down, man. You kicking Tyler Hero while he down.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not. If you walk in the office, Jay, and you see certain people working in the office, okay, you at this desk, you'll be much better at this desk right here. I ain't saying that you shouldn't be working here. No, I think you fit better at this desk right here. You should be working in this department.
I agree. He's not even, to me. He's not even a starter. He should be on the bench. So he can't be in the top 15 shooting guards if you're not even a starter. So I agree with you. I'm just poking fun at you though. But again, like I always say, man, respect to you because you, as an old head, but they call you the old head and they call you Unc all the time. You do hold it down for the real basketball fans that was watching the game at that time and still watch it to this day, because we know there's a lot of old heads who weren't watching the games then. They definitely don't watch the games now, but all they do is come up on all these social media platforms and try to come on your show and other people's shows telling about their perspective and their quote-unquote eye test. In reality, they don't see nothing but Charles Barkley, Skip Bayless, and those fools talk on television every day. That's all. That's the only people they listen to and talk to and actually watch. They don't watch the games. You told them about Jalen Green. They're not going to tell you nothing about no Jalen Green. They
Zero.
can't. Yeah.
Zero. You can't tell me nothing about this kid.
Yeah, they can't tell you about Brandon Miller. They can't tell you about Shaden Sharp or Cade Cunningham. The young dudes coming up about to tear the league apart. Duran. What's his name? Jalen Duran. Is that his name?
Mhm.
If I said
He's
his
going to
name,
be on an Olympic. I think he's going to be on an Olympic team in 28.
that's what I'm saying. We
I
got
do.
to, again, like Lou said on your live this morning, man. The NBA is in good hands,
It
man. If
is.
you're a real basketball fan, we like 50
Mhm.
something days away. Be ready. Be
Yes.
ready. We're about to have
Yeah.
some fun. It's about to be a
Yes,
great
sir.
season. Another great
Yes,
NBA.
sir. Yes, sir. You know where to find me at, Jay. You know where I'm at, B. And
Big.
for you guys who don't know, this is my man Goat James Kingdom. He's on TikTok on Friday night and on YouTube. Is it TikTok
No,
or YouTube on
we're
Friday?
always on YouTube because on YouTube,
YouTube.
we
Okay.
let people on TikTok is just a bunch of crazy dudes. Come
Yeah.
on, you Goat James Kingdom, Friday night exposure with the exposer. That's me, A Johnny, the exposer. That's Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then we do our Sunday show, which is the Goat James Kingdom show with
Great
Beal
show. Great show.
at 12 noon Eastern time. And y'all can catch us right on the Goat James Kingdom platform.
Come
Appreciate
check
that,
him
brother.
out. Come check him out, yo. Subscribe to my man channel. Jay, I know where to find you at, brother. Good to talk to you.
All right, peace, brother.
What up?
Oh, you here? Okay.
What up?
All right, look. So last Friday, you called me a cloud chaser. You hear me?
I heard you.
So you think I'm a cloud chaser? Why?
Yes, I do.
Why?
What did you say in the comments? What did you do?
I had said Marcus 1, chill 0.
Right.
That's cloud chasing you?
So that's what you here for?
Nah,
Then why say that then?
because that's naturally me.
That's
I
what
naturally
that's
do
not
that.
what it sounds like. That's not what it sounds like at all. Mm-mm.
You don't think you don't think I naturally do that? Well,
No,
of course,
I don't.
You don't know me.
Exactly.
But I don't come here to cloud chase. You know what I mean? For you, if I would try to cloud chase, I would try to go to player choice or something like that because they got like 100,000 subscribers. Not to say like what you got
but you do it on Players Choice
come
too,
to
though.
cloud chase. What?
Yeah, you do it on Players Choice too.
What I do on player choice?
Yeah, you do the same thing in the comment section. Yeah, you do.
I do not talk to you in the comment section at all.
100. But how you think I found out about you, Marcus?
It ain't from player choice, bro.
That's exactly where it's from. What are you talking about?
I comment super chats, and it don't even be nothing about you. You think I'm buddy or something?
No, I don't. No, I do not. No, I do not.
All right, so I come here because like how your channel, like how this channel is, it's like barbershop talk, basically. You know what I mean? And I get to learn, about old eras like the 90s, 80s, and stuff before that I didn't have the luxury to see. And I can learn about that stuff, and I can get more knowledge about the game. I don't come here like when I be saying stuff like that, like Marcus 1 and like chill 0. That's me playing. You know what I mean? That ain't me trying to get a name off of you. I'm not even trying to do basketball talk content at all. Like you can look at my YouTube right now. I have no videos up but an NBA 2K video. I'm not trying to get no clout off you.
Since we're on the subject of 2K, how you feel about Joker's 2K rating? I don't even play 2K.
It's a 97.
Yeah. How you feel about that? You good with that?
I mean, he the best player in the league. They got Giannis, Jokic. They got Giannis and Jokic as a 97. I think.
Whose 2K rating have you seen and you like this some bullshit?
That bullshit. That is some bullshit. Let me look it up on the IG. It ain't no 98s. I think Jokic should be a 98.
What's the highest you can get? 99?
Yeah.
And you said Joker got a 97?
Yeah. I don't think and since I think he's the best player in NBA, I think he should be a 98. Giannis should be a 96. Curry is not no 95. Off this past season, he's not a 95.
Again, I don't play video games, so I don't know anything about 2K. But I'm saying that, and the reason I don't want to change the subject here. Like I said, what I do here is we have real basketball talk, right?
Exactly.
That's what it's not from a casual perspective, it's actual basketball talk. Now, when I talk to people, I don't talk to people to show you that I'm the best debater. I do that somewhere else. That's not what I do here. It's what I do here is I actually have basketball talk, and we don't do the back and forth. And I mean, that's not to say that I don't get challenged, because I don't mind getting challenged. That's part of it. But primarily what I do here is talk basketball, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it. But what I'm not, but what this is not a place where people are going to come to make a name off of me. No, I'm not trying to hear that. So when I see,
Trying to do.
so when I see Marcus One chill nothing, I'm like, hold on. I think we got this. I think we got this confused. No, this isn't a battle. If you want to do that, there's a place for that. That's just not here. No, I don't.
We will.
So,
but
anyway,
it ain't. But when we do that, it ain't gonna be for clout. It's for me to get better. That's why I come here for. I come here to get better about the game of basketball. That's what I come here for. You know what I mean? You the teacher and I'm the student. What student don't challenge the teacher sometimes?
I know what happens with the student and the teacher. Eventually, the student want to kill the teacher. But I'm telling you, my man, you're gonna have a tough time with this.
It's gonna happen.
You're gonna have a tough time with this one over here, brother. That's all I gotta say. You got a tough time with this one over here. So
I know you match a splinter.
In the words of my man Biggie, it's gonna be. I ain't saying I can't get got. I'm just saying it's gonna be hard as hell. That's it. That's all I'm saying. So, anyway, what up?
Oh yeah. Hold on, Bobby. I just joined. So what you said? The topic of the show is that the best two guard in the NBA? Yeah, I know what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
I do know what you're gonna say. Because your judgment is clouded. You see
it ain't. No, it's not.
100% it is.
No, it's not. I can give you reasons too. See, look. Ant is the best two guard in the league because his comp is, I think his only comp is Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell, right?
Right.
As the best two guard in the league for sure.
Right.
Devin Booker and Donovan.
It would be Jaylen Brown if Jaylen Brown actually played the two, but he doesn't.
Yeah, he don't play the two. He don't? You sure?
No. That's Derek White. Derek White plays the two, he plays the three.
But ain't the two his position though?
Yes.
Like how you think Tim Duncan, like he plays center years, but he's the power forward.
But when Duncan played the five, he played with another four. He didn't play with another five. He played with a four.
And
when
they
he played,
categorized him as a five at that time, though, right?
Right, because he played with a four.
Yeah.
That's the day. So he moved to the five.
But we rank him as a power forward.
Because he played the four for 9 years. I'm sorry, 10 years.
So why we can't do that for Jaylen Brown? Didn't he play most of his most of his years as a shooting guard?
No, he didn't. Unfortunately, he only
played as small forward.
Jaylen Brown been in the league. What are we at? I think we're in year,
right?
Yeah, so we're in 16. I'm sorry. So he's been in the league 8 years. Right? Yeah, I think
he's never played shooting guard.
No, I ain't say he's never played shooting guard. He has played the shooting guard, but if he plays the shooting guard more than he played the small forward, then we could do that. The problem is him playing on the team that he's playing on. He's probably going to be playing this position for quite some time because this crew is not going anywhere.
So who do you rank as? So Jason Tatum a power forward?
That's what they got. I think he plays the three, but
yeah, that's what I think.
But the problem is they got him playing the four. That's the problem.
All right, but anyway, I feel like Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell, for what they can do offensively, they don't touch Ant when it comes to defense. And I think that's a separator right there.
Do you think that the gap offensively between Mitchell, Book, and
I think it's close.
Mitchell and Book is close, but you feel like defensively those do Anthony Edwards clears both of them?
Yes. They're not.
I don't think you give Donovan Mitchell as much credit as you should as a defender. I think he's a lot better defender than you give him credit for. I don't think that he's as good a defender as Anthony Edwards, but I don't think Anthony Edwards clears him as a defender. I'm not going to do that.
I think he clears them on ball for sure. I think he clears both of them on ball.
I think off ball. Anthony. I think off ball.
Off ball. That's where. Yeah.
I think off ball. Donovan Mitchell is right there. I don't think he's that far away. His ability to dig, not just his ability to dig, his ability to get in passing lanes, read defenses. I feel like Anthony Edwards is going to get better at that. You could catch Anthony Edwards very much like Kawhi Leonard, very much like Jordan. When he's playing off ball, you can catch him with his head turned, and you can beat him. And that's because he's young. I feel like once he gets better and understands the game a little bit more, he can understand who he can play off ball with. He can understand guys who he knows, okay, this guy moves a lot without the ball, so I gotta have my head on a swivel. Now, he could get caught cheating, not only cheating, he could get caught with his head turned and he gets beat backdoor. He gets beat on back screens where guys flare to the corner and giving up big time shots. That's a problem for a two guard, especially when you're playing against another scorer, and particularly in the playoffs. Now, when he gets better at that, then he'll be an even better two guard.
I've seen him lock in on that in the playoffs.
That's some of the stuff. I've seen him lock in more on being an on-ball guy than an off-ball guy. More.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think that is because, again, he hasn't been around long enough, and I don't think he understands coverages as well as he will. Same thing with guys like Wemby. I don't think he's there yet.
But when they get there, that's when they,
Well, I'm sure you've heard. I'm sure you've heard me say that 2 years tops. I think he's the best two guard in the game. I think he's going to be the MVP of the league. I do think that.
I think he's the best. I think he solidifies it this year.
I wouldn't be surprised. If I
this year, it ain't gonna be the defense. It's just gonna be the scoring. It's gonna be like, do you think Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell are better scorers than Anthony Edwards?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
So I think this season Ant will be right on par with those two. Well, I think he's already on par with those two. But I think in your mind, he will be on par with those two. But his defense, we know, is just better.
And when you say on par with those two, like Anthony Edwards' stop and pop pull up game at the long ball line isn't close to Donovan Mitchell.
It ain't.
His stop and pop mid range game, just in the half court, is not what Devin Booker's is. And Donovan Mitchell's stop and pop in the mid range is better too. And on top of that,
shooters.
And on top of that, reading defenses, knowing who to get the basketball to. I think Donovan Mitchell is much better at that. How he sucks the defense in, particularly in transition when he gets to the rim. That's why you see him firing it out to Max Strus. That's why you see him firing it out to D Wade and guys like that. That's why you see him throwing the ball up to the rim to guys like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, because he reads the defense, because he's been around for a while. I think that Anthony Edwards, there's going to come a time when he sees the game like that. He just doesn't see it like that yet. So,
facts. But yeah.
All right, brother.
That's it.
Good to talk to you.
All right.
Hey, what's up, Chill?
What up?
I got 3 quick points. Remember 2 years ago, I told you, and you thought I don't know if you thought I was crazy, but I told you everyone's gonna start talking about Ant-Man being better than Tatum. You remember me telling you that 2 years ago?
This was I won't even go 2 years ago. This was like February. You was telling me that.
Nah, this was before it was way before the season. I remember it was like way back on the show.
But I do remember it was in the season too. You were telling me that.
Yeah, so if it was maybe it was a year. Maybe it was a year, because I
do remember that.
But I told you it was because of the defense and how everybody's gonna look at him and say he plays better defense at the 2. But when you look at what's going on now, Devin Booker, to me, offensively as a scorer, it's him better than Ant-Man. But then when you look at your boy from Cleveland, he's a better defender and a better passer. So when you see it, I look at him, like I said on that time in February last year, that he's actually similar to Clyde Drexler, to where he has a great skill talent, but there's other people out there that are better than him. Not to take away that he doesn't have good skills or anything, but his footwork needs to improve, because I keep telling you, his footwork is nasty, but his handling with his footwork is why it's sloppy. Because you see how I keep telling you, like it looks like the ball's always getting away from him. So for me, I'm just letting you know that I knew everyone was going to say that about Tatum. And Tatum, to me, I hate Boston, but I love how Tatum has been playing. He's playing 4, he's playing defense, he's doing everything. Once he gets his clicks, he's good. That's the first point I wanted to say about Ant-Man. He's got stuff to work on, and when he's there, I got nothing to say. But I wanted to bring it back to stick to Boston. I had a conversation with my dad about old school basketball, and he was talking about Bird. And he was telling me Bird used to shoot it before what a 3-point was, like what he did to Jordan. Jordan was in college, and the ball went to Bird at halfway court. He grabbed the ball, looked at Jordan, and just shot it right in his face, nothing but net, and walked off the court. As we were talking, I realized something. That's what I think is the problem with the league today, because when you look at it, Kevin Garnett going at it with Pippen, they always had the college players or the high school players playing against the stars now and pick up basketball. So everybody would talk about it like, yo, these guys are nasty. That being said, that element is not there. I think, and I'm not trying to knock LeBron James, he did it his way. But the way he did it, everyone can't criticize him. Like, he wasn't gambling, he wasn't cheating, he wasn't doing any of that. He helped out his boys, he helped out his city. He did everything the right way on his terms, and people are hating on him because you have nothing really negative to say about him. So with that gap, I think that's what created the gap, because once you talk about LeBron James, there's nobody else after him that's on that level like the guys back in the 90s. So that gap right there is what causes a lot of problem. But with Bird, I want to say something about people, what they don't realize. I remember watching games with my dad and watching actual film. Bird used to just pull up on people. Like, you'd be like right in his face. He's like, "Oh, you want to play?" Just straight shots like all day. He even shot it from Steph Curry zone. Like, I seen him pull up from there. I'm like, what is he doing? And even my dad said it. He said, "Man, we rooted for Magic Johnson, but in secret, we were like, that white boy can play, boy. I'm glad he's in the league because he helped the league."
We had to recognize, like, we had to take off the race glasses and just look at the ball player. We had to do that. As much as we didn't want to, because he was white, right? As much as we didn't want to because he was white, we had to just take off the race glasses and just start looking at the ball player and go, "Yo, this dude nice. Cut the shit. Stop acting like that, yo."
And the thing is the league is changing. Like, people don't even remember, old heads, like even when I was talking with my dad, old heads don't even remember how Jordan had two different styles to his game, and he dominated in both. He started off at a point guard, but once he got his point guard, he became a shooting guard that everyone knows him as. So when you look at talent and you look at skills, the game has been changing for years. The problem is that, for me, I think that Jordan could talk smack about Isaiah because he beat him. Jordan can talk smack about Magic because he beat him, but he can't talk about Bird because he never went past Bird. Like, Bird owned Jordan, but people don't look at that, and they keep saying, "Oh, Jordan's the greatest," but his toughest challenge was Boston. But with that being said, it's like, for me as an old head, I appreciate what you're doing, but I think that a lot of people overlook the skill set of what the game is today. For example, if you look at Sabonis, man, Sabonis is a nasty basketball player, but he gets overlooked because he's in the Western Conference and there's like 5 other centers that are better than him. And that's because of what they can do. But if you look at Sabonis and what he gives, it gets overlooked. So I feel that, not our biases, but because of the way the game is changing, we really can't compare other eras and stuff like that. We could say, "Oh, he played good this time." But when you really look at everything, you can't say he's better than him, because I feel like you're taking away from their greatness. Like LeBron James. I like LeBron James from day one. I hated him because I was like, this guy is too good to not be 10-time champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my expectation. I even had to school someone else about it on the show. I said, "You're wrong." When he went to Miami, that was a smart business move. When do you know in the league where you have 3 guys that are alphas, one on the Raptors, one on Miami, and then LeBron James in Cleveland, all 3 come together and form like Voltron to be a 3-headed Hydra? Like, stuff like that isn't happening. So now when you see players coming into their own, they get overlooked. Like, you got guys saying Ja Morant's better than, let's say, Tyrese Halliburton, or all these other things. They're different skill sets. You can't compare them, because when you start comparing them, you tear down what they actually are. So for me, I think Ant-Man got a lot of work to do with his footwork. Once that gets in, his defense has always been there. He's always been good, but the problem is I think he's getting a little bit too comfortable to where he's allowing the media to change who he is. Like, every narrative you look at in the league, it's always some type of media-driven thing, and he's feeding into it. When you look at LeBron James, the media couldn't say nothing about him. They were hating on him from like, "Oh, he's the king from high school when he got in." And the guy has been doing exactly what he needs to do, and he gets hated on. Got half of his career, he's been in the finals. Like, what are we talking about? Like, this guy is great. Like, we need to give him his respect. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate LeBron James. I just don't understand his game, because I'm like, you're too good to be with 4 rings, man. You should be like Bill Chick, you know what I'm saying? Like, with 10 or 12 rings, because you have shown me that not only can you play pass, you can play defense, you can do all of that. The thing is just that we've seen his greatness for so long that it starts to look at him as being the bad guy. So pretty much I just want to say, people got to understand that this game is changing and it's for the better. But at the same time, the only reason why old heads are saying what they're saying is, like you're saying, they don't want to be overlooked, because no one talks about the Jerry West's. No one talks about the Joe Dumar's. And that's another thing. I think Joe Dumars is better than Isaiah Thomas. And I get ridiculed for it all the time. And I say that because Now I'm gonna tell you why. Because for 4 years, Isaiah Thomas was nasty. But even when Isaiah left, Joe Dumars was still giving you 20, still playing
He did make
defense.
the Olympic team in '96. Yes, he did.
Yeah, and he also was all defense. He got you.
Yeah.
He got all stars. He
Mhm.
got all of that. So for me, over a longer period of a career, I prefer Joe Dumars because he was the perfect number two. And then when his number one stepped off, he still was doing well enough to where he even played with what's his name?
Grant Hill.
Grant Hill.
Grant Hill.
He played with
Yes,
Grant
he
Hill,
did.
and he even mentored him. And the way he is and the way his personality is, everyone just like looks past him. So I just want to let you know that I'm a big Joe Dumars fan. I love the way the league is right now, and
He's
I
the
really
reason why
think
I watched it. He's the reason
yeah,
why I
me
watched the
too.
Bad Boys. He was the reason
Because
why I couldn't stand them dudes. It was because of Joe Dumas. The only reason why I watched them dudes.
me
I
too,
couldn't
because
stand
my grandfather loves them. He's like, nobody can talk about my boy Isaiah because he's from Jamaica. So he's like,
Yep.
Isaiah, my boy, my Isaiah. And I'd be like,
Mhm.
but Pops. And then this is why I love them. Because every time I talk to my grandfather, he'll talk about Isaiah for about 2 hours. I say, but you know Joe Dumars. And then once I say Joe Dumars, he's like, all right. That's the only time I ever want a conversation with my grandfather. He would stop talking. He would just be like, you got it. And I'm like, I won. And then I didn't even have to get into it. So that's why I started respecting Joe Dumars even more because to a lot of people, don't get me wrong, Isaiah's nasty, what he's done and everything, but Joe Dumars was that silent Trojan that got overlooked. And there's a lot of guys like that, even John Stockton. Like, John Stockton was a bad white boy. I've seen him come down the court, cross cats, blow past him, say, yo, come back here. I need to show you some more. And spends the time just schooling them as he's dancing, and he stays where he's doing. Because remember, when they changed the coach, his style changed. Even I heard you say it earlier today in the show. So I just want to say thank you for keeping up with the old heads and keeping us relevant because there's a lot of guys out there that get overlooked. But Ant-Man, he gets his footwork together, man. I'm
He on his
telling you,
way.
he'll be up.
100%.
He's on his
He on his
way.
way, Bob.
You have a good
100%.
one. Go,
Good
New
to
York.
talk to
Go,
you.
New York. Go. Peace.
Out.
Have a good.
What up?
What up, Chill?
What up, brother?
I gotta tell you two things. One, y'all basically gave me a heart attack this morning with that list of point guards. I couldn't believe y'all left off Walt.
I had Walt on my list.
I couldn't believe I had to hear Isaiah is a worse player than Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
I
I did what I could to defend Maul. I did what I could to defend that.
Chill. You gonna make me have to spend this $50 so I can be on there on Friday because if I gotta hear James Harden is better than Dwayne Wade when y'all start talking about them two guards,
No, I'm not doing that.
I'm gonna crash out.
Mm-mm.
I'm going to crash out, Chill. Ain't no way. I don't care what numbers you throw at me. I don't care about the statistics. I
James
don't
Harden
care
was not
about the
better. James
VORP.
Harden was not better
I
than
don't
Wade. He
care
wasn't.
about the true shooting. Ain't
Mm-mm.
no way you can tell me James Harden is a better player than Dwayne Wade.
He wasn't. He wasn't.
The other thing is listening to these two guards. And there's just no disrespect to them. I think they're all great players for their era. But man, this is I ain't gonna say sad, but comparing this crop of two guards to the heyday of crop of two guards, it is a clear disparity in the level of talent.
Mm.
I think
Now, what do you mean? When you say heyday, what do you mean when you say heyday?
I think the heyday for the two guard, you're looking at the 2000s.
So
You're
like
looking at
Bryant,
yep,
Rip Hamilton, Vince
yep,
Carter.
yep.
Who else was running
Tracy
around during that time?
McGrady, Allen
Tracy
Iverson,
McGrady,
Ray
Allen
Allen,
Iverson, Ray Allen. Okay,
Manu Ginobili. Like
Ginobili.
you can look, you can just rattle off names for the two guards for the 2000s. And again, there's no disrespect to these two guards. 'Cause I think they're great, but besides, you look at the top three: Donovan, uh, Mitchell, and Ant. All great players, but Ant at this point he's good, but he still has a lot to learn.
Right.
Devin Booker has shown you that he can get extremely hot, but he can't be your sole catalyst on a team getting you over the edge. He won't be the person that's gonna push you over the edge, no matter how hot he got, because I don't think I've ever seen anybody as hot as him when he was playing the Nuggets. That was absurd. And then you look at Donovan Mitchell, who's been great for years,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something about it. Maybe it's because of his size. Maybe it's just his
He plays a
temperament.
lot
But
bigger than what he is.
he
100% he does. He does play a
hundred
lot
percent,
bigger than what he is.
100%. But it's something about Donovan Mitchell. It, I don't know if he'll ever actually get the recognition he technically deserves. Because looking at his numbers, he definitely deserves to be in that position of one of the best two guards in the game. But I don't think
Mm-hmm.
he'll ever get that recognition. And then you look at the guys behind him, and it's not just a drop off; it's a falling off a cliff as far as talent.
Mm.
Um, and looking at that, it made me think about the era of the small forwards. 'Cause I know those are coming up as well.
Yep.
What decade do you think had the best era of small forwards?
The best era of small forwards. So
Hmm.
in the 80s, it was Bird, it was Neek, it was Alex English, it was Bernard King. In the 90s, it was Scotty, it was Grant Hill, uh, and then it
Yep.
was everybody else. And then it was everybody else, to be quite honest
Yep.
with you. And then
I.
it was everybody else. And then in the 2000s, you're
Mhm.
talking about the small forward. The 2000s was more the power forward era than it was the small forward
Absolutely.
era. And the small forward era, I think, was in in the 2010s with James and KD,
Mm.
Paul George, Carmelo Anthony. I think that was the small forward era when
Do you
those dudes
think
became who they actually were.
do you think that era of small forwards is better than the era of the 80s as far as small forwards?
So if you think
Because
James,
yep,
KD,
yep,
Leonard,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
Paul George,
yeah.
Melo. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out in terms of small forwards because
Paul
usually when
Pierce.
you Paul Pierce, but Paul Pierce, he was already over by the 2010s. He was
Yeah.
over by that point.
Kawhi. Kawhi.
So again, Leonard, James,
Yeah.
KD, Paul George, Melo. I mean, that was the small forward era. If you think about what the era is today, like for example with the two guard, how good is Manu Ginobili in today's game? Like when I'm thinking about the two guards in today's game, right? So Anthony Edwards, Book, right? So Anthony Edwards, Book, uh, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Williams, Jalen Brown, Desmond Bain, Zach LaVine, Austin Reeves, Jalen Green, Tyler Hero, CJ McCollum, Bradley Beal, Devin Vassell, Malik Monk, Cam Thomas. Where does Manu Ginobili fall in that line? Is he the best of all of these guys?
Yes, by far. Ain't even a debate. I think it gets tricky when you. I don't even think it gets really tricky. He clearly jumps to the head of the list. Um, I think his decision making is some of the best. His
Hmm.
ball handling, his defense, his awareness of the situation, his clutch,
Hmm.
everything as far as Ginobili goes is better than literally every other two guard in the league right now. If heaven forbid, if Manu Ginobili finds the fountain of youth and goes and hops in and comes back to the league, he'll terrorize.
But is he that much better than
Yes,
Donovan Mitchell? I'm not gonna
yes.
go that far. I
He's
won't go
what
that far and say that he clears Donovan Mitchell. I don't think he does that.
well, he's I think he's definitely a smarter player than Donovan. I think the other thing is I think he's better at taking whatever you give him
Right,
and making it work better. I think
right.
Donovan is a really good player, but I don't think he can maximize the talent that's around him the same way Ginobili can.
I think that I actually think the opposite of that. I think Ginobili was a product of the talent that was around him, and that's why he was maximized. It wasn't because he actually maximized the talent around him. I think that the talent around him maximized him because that system in San Antonio, how good he was, how he played off of Tim Duncan, how he played off of Tony Parker. Tony Parker was one of the better guard scorers in the paint in the league. Well,
Hmm.
because you have that and you running with a dude like that, that opens up the game for me way more. Well, Donovan Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell being the downhill player that he is, Devin Booker being the stop and pop guy that he is, Anthony Edwards being the finisher at the rim that he is. I mean, when you're talking about guys like that, they maximize just about everybody else. Now, does Manu Ginobili finish at the rim? 100%. He will throw it on. I saw him throw it on Chris Bosh, right? I've seen him. I seen him throw it on guys. I won't argue that part. But when I think about him maximizing everybody more than the system, which isn't a bad thing, because all of these guys play in the system. Jordan played in the triangle. As good as Jordan wasn't nearly as good of a player until he got in the triangle. And he understood how to play in the triangle. Same thing with Bryant, same thing with Shaq.
My only pushback on that is, Chill, is you're 100% right. If we didn't have the Argentina team to look at and see how Ginobili maneuvered that team to a gold medal.
That was a damn good team, Mina.
Absolutely.
That was a damn good team he was on.
But that's my point. He was the guy on that team.
Yeah.
And he led that team, and he maximized that team to beat USA.
That was a damn good team he was on.
Was it?
With
I'm saying it was a great team. Don't get me wrong, but it was clear.
Point guard. Don't get me wrong. He was the best player on that team. I won't argue that. I will not argue that he was the best player on that team. That part I will not argue. However, they had been together for a long time. Don't forget, they were also. I think they were in the. I think if they didn't medal in 2008, they were competing for the gold medal. They were competing for the gold medal. I think they lost in the. I think they lost in the semifinals to Team USA. So, I mean, they were a damn good team. But
absolutely,
I think
do you think next year or next Olympics? Do you think do you think Donovan Mitchell is even going to be there? And two, could he do something? Could he replicate that? No. And that's kind of my point.
Yeah, I think he's. Well, I mean, you got to remember. I mean, it's a little bit different playing in Argentina. The talent pool isn't what it is in America. So,
true.
I mean, Donovan Mitchell. That's why, and I'm gonna leave it with this when I say minor. That's why I want tryouts to come back. This whole picking guys. No, how about we get 35 guys in camp? Yo, let's battle for the spot. Let's battle for the spot.
I doubt they're gonna go back to that.
I would love that.
I would love that, but I doubt if they do it.
Man,
all right, Chill.
Good to talk to you, brother. I know where to find you.
No way.
Yep. All right, guys. Y'all know where to find me at. It's about that time for me. It was good to see you tonight. Y'all know where to find me at if I ain't here. I'm on TikTok, 9 a.m., Monday to Friday. We talk hoops. If I'm not there, I'm on Chilltown Hoops weeknights. I'm with my man Tony Tone on Tuesday nights, Fluent and Chill. And if I'm not there, on Saturdays, 12 o'clock Eastern, I'm with my man Big Ox on Chill with Chill. So I'm not hard to find. You guys know where to find me at. I will see you guys soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Well, last time you talked to your mother. Call your mother. I will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. This was good stuff.